Port Charles was a powder keg on Monday's explosive episode of General Hospital, and by the final moments, it was clear that no one would walk away unscathed. Betrayal, desperation, and long-buried obsessions collided as Willow made a shocking medical move on Drew. Anna came face to face with her darkest nightmare in the form of Caesar Faison, and Dante began assembling a case that could bring down Michael Corinthos once and for all. From the halls of General Hospital to the shadowy corners of the PCPD and the emotional war zones of the Quartermain estate, every storyline surged forward with heart-stopping intensity. Willow Tate has always prided herself on being a healer, someone who saves lives, not endangers them. But Monday's episode forced her into an impossible moral gray area, one where love, fear, and loyalty to Michael blurred into a single, reckless decision. Drew Kane lay in a hospital bed, still weak from his recent ordeal, but finally awake and asking the questions everyone dreaded. He wanted answers about what really happened, about who was responsible, and about why certain people in Port Charles seemed so determined to keep the truth buried. Willow knew what Drew didn't: that his memories, if fully restored, could unravel everything. They could expose secrets Michael had fought to contain, secrets that might shatter lives and send shockwaves through the Corinthos and Quartermain families alike. When the doctor stepped out, Willow remained behind, her hands trembling as she stared at the syringe hidden in her pocket. The medication wasn't meant to kill Drew, but it was meant to slow him down, to cloud his clarity just enough to buy Michael time. Time to maneuver. Time to prepare. Time to protect himself. Still, crossing that line meant violating everything Willow believed in. As Drew's eyes fluttered open again, confusion flickering across his face, Willow approached with practiced calm. Her voice was soft, reassuring, as she explained that she needed to administer something to help with his pain and agitation. Drew, trusting her completely, extended his arm without hesitation. The camera lingered on Willow's face as the needle pierced his skin. In that single moment, she wasn't just a nurse or a devoted wife. She was a conspirator, an accomplice, a woman choosing sides in a war that had already claimed too many casualties. Almost immediately, Drew's speech began to slur. His focus drifted. The sharp questions dulled into half-formed thoughts. Willow exhaled shakily, torn between relief and horror at what she had just done. Outside the room, unseen by Willow, a figure paused in the hallway, sensing something was wrong. And the truth, once again, slipped just a little further out of reach. Elsewhere in Port Charles, a far more personal nightmare unfolded. Anna Devane has faced assassins, tyrants, and international criminals, but none have ever cut as deeply as Caesar Faison. The man who manipulated, tortured, and obsessed over her for decades is the embodiment of every scar she carries, physical and emotional. And now, impossibly, he was standing in front of her again. The confrontation was electric from the moment Anna realized who she was dealing with. Her hand instinctively moved toward her weapon, training kicking in even as her heart pounded with old fear and fury. Faison, ever the puppet master, greeted her with that familiar, chilling smile. To him, this wasn't merely a reunion. It was the continuation of a twisted love story that existed only in his own mind. "You look just as beautiful as ever, my dear Anna," he purred, his voice dripping with nostalgia and menace. Anna's response was ice-cold. She demanded to know how he was alive, how he had escaped justice yet again, and what game he was playing this time. Faison, of course, reveled in the attention. He spoke in riddles, hinting at new alliances, old grudges, and a plan that had been years in the making. Every word was designed to unsettle her, to remind her that no matter how many times she thought she had defeated him, he always found a way back into her life. The tension between them was suffocating, two titans of espionage locked in a battle of wills, history crackling in the air like static. For Anna, this wasn't just about stopping a criminal. It was about confronting the man who had shaped so much of her pain, the man who had threatened her family, her friends, and her very sense of self. And as the scene ended, one thing was clear. Faison's return meant that the stakes in Port Charles had just been raised to a deadly new level. While emotional and psychological wars raged elsewhere, a quieter but equally dangerous battle was forming at the PCPD. Detective Dante Falconeri has spent his life walking the fine line between family loyalty and his duty to the law. Being Sonny Corinthos's son has never been easy, and being a cop in a town ruled by mob power has only made that conflict sharper. Now, his investigation has led him somewhere he never wanted to go, toward Michael Corinthos. Clues have been stacking up: financial irregularities, witness statements, subtle patterns of behavior that point to Michael being far more deeply involved in recent criminal activities than his letting on. While Michael has long insisted he wants nothing to do with the mob, the evidence suggests he may be playing a far more dangerous game behind the scenes. Dante reviewed the files late into the night, his expression grim. Each piece of information felt like another weight on his chest. Going after Michael wouldn't just mean challenging a powerful figure, it would mean turning on family. Yet the law is the law. In a tense conversation with his superiors, Dante laid out his findings. He didn't embellish. He didn't soften the truth. He simply presented the facts and made it clear that an official investigation was not only warranted, it was necessary. The decision set a chain of events in motion that could change everything. Because if Dante follows this case to its conclusion, it won't just expose Michael. It could ignite a war within the Corinthos family, one that pits brother against brother, loyalty against justice, and love against the unyielding demands of the law. By the end of Monday's episode, Port Charles felt like a city holding its breath. Willow had crossed a line she could never uncross, and Drew's clouded mind was a fragile shield protecting a dangerous secret. Anna stood face to face with the embodiment of her darkest past, knowing that Faison's presence meant chaos was coming. And Dante had taken the first official step toward building a case that could tear the Corinthos family apart from the inside. Every storyline pulsed with urgency, every character poised on the edge of a decision that could change their lives forever. In Port Charles, no secret stays buried forever. And the reckoning is coming.